With Monty.
Yes, in fact it is NFL Monster Monday, and BYU finally beat Utah Monster Monday right here on the Monty Show. An incredible weekend of sports. Hey there, friends. It's Monday, September 13th, 2021. We got a lot to get to today. Dropped a $10,000 bill over the weekend. And actually got good service doing it. Wow. We'll talk about that. Tons of NFL quarterback stories. Listen, I think one of the biggest stories in the NFL is Kyler Murray an MVP candidate, because after what I saw, shocking against Tennessee. I mean, just so many stories in the NFL. But how do you not start with what happened in Provo? TDS, little brother, blue Kool-Aid,
little
brother. Utah came to Provo to die, and it was remarkable the performance that we saw out of BYU as we led up to this game. I think we all knew it would be a close game. But 26-17? Did anybody predict that? Because we certainly did not. Did anybody predict that this Utah offensive line would get absolutely feasted on up front? Did anybody predict that Jaren Hall would come out and throw 3 scores and just dominate Utah, consistently break their spirit by running the ball? I don't think anybody saw this game playing out the way it did. And Jake, frankly, it's shocking. It is shocking how bad Utah was at times.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they were not, however you want to say it, not prepared or not ready to play, or, not able to handle Jaren and his legs. And I think, that really, to me, was where the game sort of changed, is BYU no longer has a guy standing back there who's a statue, who is just, going to hang out in the pocket, and BYU's huge defensive line can come and get him. That's no longer the case. And I think that, when you have, Jaren running wheel routes up the sideline, and Jaren running up the sideline just out of the pocket with the football for 25 yards, I mean, that's crushing to your defense. I mean, that's not... you can't, it's really difficult to protect against that. So I just think overall, Jaren played a hell of a game. And I think that BYU, and honestly, more credit to Kalani, they were prepared. I honestly felt like watching that game that Kalani Sitake was ready to go and had a pretty good feel for what Utah was going to bring to the table. And I think that's why Jaren Hall was so prepared on the running side of his game, because he knew, okay, there's definitely going to be times where pressure comes. There's definitely going to be times where I'm going to have to run, and I just need to be opportunistic with that and not make silly mistakes, not take the big hit, not put the football on the ground, not throw a silly interception if I'm throwing to avoid the blitz. So to me, I just felt like Kalani Sitake and that coaching staff had Jaren Hall ready to go, and everybody else did their job. I mean, that's as simple as it is. Literally, if your quarterback is not flustered when the pressure comes, and everybody else, your wide receivers, your tight ends, your offensive line, if they all just do their job, you're going to have success. And so to me, yes, it was shocking that this game was 26-17. I mean, that was really surprising to me. And I think, in the first half, it was kind of like, okay, BYU's playing well. This was kind of expected, though. You're in Provo. You're on the road.
Right.
You knew you were going to get punched in the face at the beginning of the game. You knew that was going to happen. But then you start getting in the third quarter, and you're like, dude, what are we doing here? Is Utah really about to lose this game?
Well, and I think one of the things that really comes out, and one of the things that really showed out, was that BYU was more emotional. They were more into it. They certainly were more, it seemed, prepared. You watched a Utah team in it, and it's shocking. Honest to goodness, it's something I can't say I've seen very many times, if ever, in Kyle Whittingham's tenure, where the Utes just no-showed for long swaths of this game. There was no heart, there was no drive, there was no nothing, no life, no excitement. It was shocking to see that the Utah Utes simply did not show up in what was arguably the biggest game of their season. And now they've lost that game. You're not going to play it for 2 more years. I think there is so much more on the line than just, the 9-game winning streak coming to an end. You're looking at BYU now for the next 2 years having momentum, because the next time they play this game, BYU is going to be in the Big 12. The next time they play this game, BYU is going to be far more talented. The next time they play this game, you could make the argument that it could be with bowl implications, with national play, with national championship, college football playoff implications. The next time BYU and Utah play, the stakes are going to be far higher. And it just makes me wonder, why are we not playing this game every year? That, to me, is one of the biggest questions. I mean, do you agree this game should be played every year?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's really unfortunate, especially locally in Salt Lake, where, you're going to go 2 years without playing this game. It's amazing to me, because I think now, you're right. Like, I think BYU getting into the Big 12, which happened Friday, in case you were living under a rock, but BYU getting into the Big 12, to me signals, recruiting's about to go up. The program is about to grow. Like, everything's moving in the right direction for BYU. And I kind of agree. We were watching that game, together, and you were like, man, like, Utah is playing indifferent football. And I feel like that's a great way to describe it. You're just kind of rolling out onto the field, going through the motions, and hoping for a good result. And that's never going to get you any kind of performance that's, close to a win on the road in Provo. Like, that's not going to happen. So to me, I just feel like, once again, if you go back and you listen to our shows the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about this whole thing where the Pac-12 is really struggling, where, if you look at it from a conference perspective, they're struggling, or if you look at it from an individual program perspective, they're struggling. And I felt like in Provo, for Utah, that was on like full display. You had a team that just wasn't locked in and ready, which is really surprising. So, yeah, to me, is it a shame that we don't get to see this game every single year? Yeah, it is a shame. Is it for Utah? Is it a luxury? Yeah, it is, because next time, you better come ready to play. Now, next time, it's going to be in Utah, obviously. It's going to be, at Rice-Eccles, but at the end of the day, I just think this conversation is less about what Utah didn't do and more about what BYU did, because I think BYU came ready to play, they executed their game plan, and that got them the win. And now they're set up to have another great season, coming off a season where a lot of haters said, oh, well, 11-1 or 10-1 or whatever it was, you did that on a soft-ass schedule. Well, I got news for you. They're 2-0 against the Pac-12. So,
well, and I think the thing that really stood out here was, and again, here's something we haven't been able to say for the last decade, BYU won this game on the line. BYU won this game with the defensive line. They dominated Utah's offensive line. And I think BYU got solid offensive line play, good enough. It was not good offensive line play. Let's not couch this. BYU's got work to do on the offensive line. But BYU got enough quality play up front from their offensive line to allow Jaren Hall to operate, to give him the time to throw the football and let some routes develop. I mean, there's so many stories in this game that the Nakua brothers were actually effective, because I didn't think you got a great performance out of Rex at tight end. I thought you needed those kind of performances out of the Nakua brothers, and you got it. Now, the stupid penalties where you took your helmets off, that's just not good enough. And I'm sure Kalani will address that. But my point is, I think you now have a legitimate argument to be made that while they're certainly not as talented as Utah, BYU right now today is a better football team than the Utah Utes. And again, I don't think we've ever been able to say that during Kyle Whittingham's tenure up on the Hill, Jake.
No, I think it almost sounds outlandish to say, doesn't it? Like BYU right now has a better football team than Utah does. It's like I almost have trouble saying it because it's been so long, but I think there's no way to get away from it at this point. Like they just beat you, right? They're 2-0. They right now have more momentum. Right now they're in the AP top 25, and you're not close. And I just think overall they have more momentum. Again, I think we just have to be mindful, when we're talking about these things that BYU's successes aren't necessarily, Utah being some horrible program.
No.
I just think that this particular year, Utah, for whatever reason, I'm not going to say they weren't prepared, but it just felt like they just were not up to the challenge. It just kind of felt like the spirit, like the fight, the passion was not within them on that night. And I feel like that really more than anything is why BYU won the game.
Well, and I also think that there's something to be said for Kalani Sitake here. I mean, and it probably goes without saying, this guy's a pretty good football coach. And we've been talking about this for years on this show. I am a huge believer in Kalani's spirit. I'm a huge believer in his energy and his vibe. I think that wins you football games. His preparation, you're not going to, if you're a football coach and a football coaching staff that doesn't prepare their teams, you're not going to win games like this. That to me is rudimentary. But when your kids are emotionally connected, when they're fired up, when they understand what's on the line, one of the great stories that I've been party to over the last several years was told by Kyle Gunther about the fact that Urban Meyer used to put BYU logos on the floor and in the urinals. And it wasn't just on game week. It was all the time because you were always walking on BYU. You were always making sure that in their minds that the Utah Utes understood that BYU was beneath them, that Utah's a better team, and there was no question about that. I don't think you can say that anymore. And I think when you are this BYU football team, and I think when you saw Kalani just absolutely exercise his demons at the end of that game on the sideline, you begin to understand how much is actually on the line in this rivalry. You begin to understand how much effort and energy and soul was put into BYU's preparation over the last 3 years, especially to win this very game. I mean, I think it speaks volumes about the kind of coach and the kind of staff that Kalani Sitake has built in Provo, and I don't think that we can say it too loudly. Kalani Sitake is underappreciated and undervalued as a football coach in this country. I don't think there's any doubt that any Ute fan loves Kalani. Certainly at BYU, he is iconic now. But you look at Kalani Sitake nationally, he absolutely is underappreciated. He's undervalued. He is not a name that most fans across the country know yet. Mm-hmm. Kalani Sitake and BYU football are arguably in as good as any position as they have ever been in the history of this program to be more talented and more ready to compete for a college football playoff spot. And whether you want to call it the BCS before that or the open seasons before that, I don't know that BYU has ever been more correctly positioned to compete at the top of college football.
Yeah, and I want to play this piece of Kalani sound because I think it kind of exemplifies exactly what you're talking about. This is Kalani post-game in the locker room just talking to his team, and I want you to specifically listen for just like how emotional it is because I think this is really what won them the football game.
Great job, by the way. Love the game. Love the way that you guys fought. Okay? Keep serving others. Keep thinking of others. Good things will happen to you. I promise you. Okay? I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm trying not to cry. Love you guys, man. Love you. I'm speaking for all our coaches and our coaching staff. Hey, if you love God, you love your family, say it with me.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
I mean, the guy just...
He gets it.
I mean, his soul leaked out in front of us. I mean, it was amazing. The importance of this game cannot be overstated for BYU. And I think one of the other questions you have to ask is, what's the impact of this loss on Utah? You're clearly weighting BYU as a P5 team. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no doubt about that nationally BYU gets respect. How much does this impact BYU versus Utah? I think for Utah, you're going into you're going into your last week of preparation before you play league games. This is a must-win against San Diego State. There's no doubt about that. You're on the road. There's great Mexican food around. You absolutely have to win this game.
Cafe Coyote.
Yeah, you've absolutely got to win this game against San Diego State. But I also think questions have to be asked about how bad this offensive line is. Because Utah's a good football team, and this is something else I think that has to be stated. Utah's a very good football team. but their offensive line is a huge problem. Charlie Brewer took shots that it's stunning.
Yeah.
It's stunning that a BYU defensive line that's good, not great, was routinely in the backfield against Utah the other night. That's shocking. I mean, I don't think anybody could have predicted that. And I think Utah really has to make adjustments in their core, fundamental adjustments. This offensive line has to get better. And the other question is, with all due respect to Jay Hill at Weber, I don't think you can play that game anymore. I don't think that can be your opening game on the schedule anymore because it's soft.
Yeah.
And BYU came out against Arizona. I know it's Arizona. Sweaty Sean is fired. They suck. Arizona is exponentially more talented than Weber. Arizona helped BYU get ready for Utah. Weber did not help Utah get ready for BYU.
Yeah.
And I think it going into, whatever this era of change is going to be in college football, you now have to find a way to schedule up. You have to schedule the way that BYU schedules, frankly. You have to play teams like Arizona, Utah, and Arizona State 3 right out of the gate. Now, the advantage is, clearly, BYU's an independent at this point, and they're able to schedule whoever the hell they want. But, man, come on. You had Oregon, going to Ohio State.
Man.
You had Washington going to Michigan. You played Weber. Right? I mean, BYU is a legitimate opponent. BYU is now, not arguably, BYU right here today on September 13th, 2021, is a better football team than the Utah Utes.
Yeah.
And how did we get here? Well, we got here because, to me, it looks like Utah overlooked BYU. That's what it feels like to me. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, Jake, but I just feel like you can't play that Weber game anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like even if obviously, yes, they won the Weber game, but it's kind of like one of those games where it's like how you won the game. I mean, they didn't exactly dominate Weber, and I felt like, your best point there is it didn't prepare them for BYU, who I definitely agree nationally is respected as a P5 program, even though they're an independent. And I think that, you start to look at the sort of structure of your season and how the season's going to go, and you look at Utah's schedule and you're like, all right, we're going to open with Weber like we always do. Okay, that's going to be a win. But that's the biggest problem, isn't it? Because you don't want to be opening with games that are just assumed wins. That, to me, is the issue. You got to play teams that are going to push you. You got to play teams that are just as good as you are. I mean, that's why I say, with all due respect, like last week when we were talking about, Utah beat Weber. Cool, dude. You didn't dominate Weber. It wasn't like you put on some offensive display against Weber, and that's why I say the Weber game, yes, it was a win, but it hurt Utah because you didn't do what you were supposed to do against Weber. We weren't supposed to win the game. You were always going to win the game. You were supposed to dominate that program. You were supposed to dominate that team.
And I think the other thing you have to ask is, how did Tyler Algier put up 100 yards rushing against the Utah Utes?
Yeah, I think the reason that happened is because Jaren Hall is mobile. I think Jaren Hall being able to run all over the field and the Utah Utes defense having to respect that really allowed Kalani and that staff to get creative with their play calling and in terms of when we're going to run the ball. Hey, we're not going to run the ball on first down. We're gonna pass on first down. We're gonna then read option on second down, and if it's 3rd and 1, then we'll hammer it with Algier. They were just getting super creative with it.
Well, and Jaren, and I can look it up, I think had 92 yards, 8 carries, 92 yards. I mean, you gave Tyler Algier 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
I mean, you got beat up front. It's shocking. The Utah Utes got beat by BYU because BYU controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides.
I'm sitting here like, dude, are we really saying this right now? Like, are we really saying that BYU's offensive line and defensive line were better than the Utes' offensive and defensive line?
And are you telling me that you're going to win a game if Britton Covey has 1 catch for 6 yards?
Another issue. That's a great point.
How?
Yeah, I don't know.
It is some of the numbers that Brant Keithy only has 3 for 36. Now he had the touchdown. I get that, but how do Kincaid and Keithy have 4 catches combined?
Yeah,
that's shocking to me. 4 catches for about 70 yards is shocking.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear why that happened. I mean, I think that the game plan offensively, to me, was not good enough. Here's the thing. You can scheme to accommodate for a crappy offensive line.
Yes,
And
you
I felt
can.
like Utah didn't do that. I felt like Utah just assumed that the offensive line was going to be good, that they were going to be able to run the ball for 4 or 5 yards a pop, and then they were going to run play action off of that. And then that's when the Keithys of the world and the Britton Coveys of the world were going to get involved. And that never happened. You can't get those guys involved if BYU is only bringing 4 and has plenty of guys in coverage. That's not going to work.
No, and it is, one of the things I also think really stands out is that I wonder do you have explosiveness outside if you're Utah? And my feeling is you do not. Like, you are not, if you look at the mix and the combination of guys that really impacted your game, I mean, I think Micah Bernard was your best player.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. He both ran and caught the football very well. There's no doubt he's your number one now. But I think you lack explosiveness in the passing game. And, I mean, you have a guy like Charlie Brewer that can throw the football. You're not protecting him, and you're not giving him weapons to make explosive plays. And in this league, you better get the football down the field. You got beat by a BYU defense who admittedly plays prevent 9 out of 10 snaps.
Yeah.
And what happened? They kept everything in front of them, and they held you down. And to me, Utah's got to get more explosive. I don't know how you do that on the fly. I really don't. But you've got to find a way to drive the football down the field through the air. You win the games in this league. You win this league, the Pac-12, through the air. You beat teams by making big plays through the air. Well, that's college football these days.
Well, look at what Oregon did at Ohio State. I mean, I first of all, kudos to Oregon. I was shocked by that performance. I mean, really impressed. Especially having a couple of defensive studs out for Oregon. But, what I'm getting to here is you look at what they did with Verdell in that game, their running back. Verdell is a guy who is a thick running back for sure. You would think, based on just looking at him, all right, cool, we're going to hand this ball off and he's going to be a bowling ball in the A gap. But what ends up happening in that game, and I think this is something that Utah could really learn from, is, hey, send him out on a little 7 to 10 yard post route and scheme to get that portion of the field open for him. Yes, he's a running back, but if you can hit your back like that over the middle of the field, that's going to open up a ton of stuff for you. And so I just feel like my point is that I felt like Utah was very caveman in the way they went about this game. I felt like there was no creativity, and I just felt like they just got outclassed. And I think at the end of the day, we can sit here and say Utah didn't do a bunch of stuff, right? Utah didn't do this, they didn't do that, like whatever. At the end of the day, all I'm saying is that BYU did their damn job. They went out and they won a game that they really needed to win.
And they didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing that you look at. Oregon didn't turn the ball over. You look at BYU didn't turn the ball over. There's too much big play talent in college football to turn the ball over. And the other thing that I think has to be talked about, and we saw this in the NFL yesterday too to a certain level, you've got to take the points early in games.
Yeah.
And this going for it on fourth down stuff, you got to stop doing that if you're Kalani. Kick the field goal. You have an extraordinary field goal kicker. Kick the field goal. Take the points. Win the game by 10 instead of 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So BYU is not perfect. I think there are a ton of issues on the Utah side of the ball. So let's get some of your comments in here. I see everybody in here talking about BYU and Utah. David Floyd says, great win by BYU, signed Texas Tech fan. David, appreciate you being here. Ramiro says, morning, guys. Hey, how are you, Ramiro? Tanner Plummer, go Cougars and fly, Eagles fly, whatever. I'll tell you what, though. I think the Eagles have a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And you've had one for over a year.
He's been sitting there waiting for you.
Yep. Gabe Lovely says, Blue Wave is real. They changed the state's name to BYU Utah.
Okay.
Have they? Yeah,
okay.
They should. Chris Karn says, fire Nagy. That's coming. Please don't get me started. Chris,
it's so bad.
Don't. Not yet. Sorry about the Bears. Screw you, Tanner. Jeremy Bolton says, good morning. Man, what a weekend for BYU. Hells to the yeah. I mean, it truly was everything that you wanted.
I mean, you were saying this might have been like one of the best, like the best week ever.
This is arguably the best week in the history of BYU football. I mean, you needed this. This had to happen.
Yeah.
Had to happen.
Yep.
I mean, the control that BYU now exerts in this state. Mm-hmm. Your ability to recruit. Hey, we're in the Big 12. Come play with us. Hey, by the way, we're going to be in the Big 12 in 2 years, and by the time that you're a sophomore and you're really ready to go and you're a primetime player, you'll be on national TV every week against big time opponents.
Yep.
Guaranteed. You're gonna help BYU win its first national championship since 1984. Come play with us in Provo.
Yep.
That's a powerful message. And there's no corner of this state that isn't aware that A, you're a Big 12 team, and B, you beat Utah this week. There's not a high school football player or a JUCO transfer that doesn't know that happened.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. James Nelson says Sataki is closing the talent gap. Well, this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Because, again, I will tell you, Utah is more talented than BYU. There's no question about that. But it's close. It's close. And, defensively, it's shocking how much BYU got after that ass. That defensive line, oh, man. Yeah. We knew the linebackers would be good. They made plays in the secondary. I mean, the talent, the 2, 3, and 4s showed out. The explosiveness that Utah lacked, BYU has it, and the Nakua brothers outside. You've got, Gunnar Romney playing this week was an incredibly good sign. You see all of this playing out for BYU now. It's close. It's really close.
Well, and I think, the thing that has to be said if we're talking about talent is right here today, based on what I saw over the weekend, Jaren Hall is a more versatile player than Charlie Brewer is. Charlie Brewer is a hell of a quarterback, no doubt about it. Big
and
arm,
he's mobile too.
But he's not, to me, yes, he's mobile. There's a difference between being a statue back there and being able to roll out and run around and make some plays. Jaren Hall is straight up running down the sideline, burning you. To me, that's special. To me, again, you have to be careful with how much you let him run, obviously, because of the injury concern. That's really what's held him back in his career. But, the way they let him run in that game is what they need to be doing every single week because you go from a situation where, all right, we just got a guy back there who can kind of roll out and can kind of avoid some pressure to a guy that now can run for 10 or 15 yards easily and can break the spirit of that defense that's been holding you down the whole game. And to me, that really was some of the runs he had, those were turning points in this game. Those were huge moments where you're like, dude, he had nowhere to go with the football, and they still got the first down. That's what I'm saying. Utah secondary did not play horribly. They did not. Jaren Hall was just a little bit better. So that's why I say when we talk about talent gaps and who's got more where, yeah, Utah's a better defense, sure. But I'm telling you right now, BYU's got the better quarterback right here today. So it just that's just where it falls.
Well, and I think the one of the things that we have to talk about is why you're not playing this game every year. And I think it revolves around Max Hall. This Max Hall story, and if you don't know the story, I'd be shocked. So Max Hall is, I think, one of the central figures in the history of the BYU-Utah rivalry. There's no doubt. And I think it started in 2009 when Max Hall said this.
I don't like Utah. In fact, I hate them. I hate everything about them. I hate their program. I hate their fans. I hate everything. So it felt really good to send those guys home. They didn't deserve it. It was our time, and it was our time to win. We deserved it. We played as hard as we could tonight. I think the whole university and their fans and the organization is classless. I think, they threw beer on my family and stuff last year and did a whole bunch of nasty things, and I don't respect them.
Bruh.
Okay. Now,
tell us how you really feel.
Max shouldn't have said that. I don't think he would deny that. But Max Hall went on to find trouble in his life. Max Hall battles addiction. I think it is on the record very publicly about his arrests or his arrest at the Best Buy. And that's not something to joke about, though. I mean, like, mocking Max Hall for addiction is not a joke. It's not a joking matter, and it's something that's got to stop. You want to joke with Max Hall about, his NFL career or, whatever you want to point to. Hey, knock yourself out. Mocking Max Hall for addiction is just, it shows you're not very bright. It shows that you have no heart and no soul. Mm-hmm. And in this country and in this state of Utah, where we fight addiction every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day in this state. It is nasty. There are people dying. It is destroying families. To joke about addiction on any level is not a joke. It's not funny. It doesn't make you cool. It doesn't make you hip. But one of the indelible moments from this weekend is Max Hall going up into the stands and taking that photo with the fan wearing the shirt. I don't remember what it said. Max Hall hates me or whatever. The Utah fan that was wearing that shirt, Max Hall went up to him, stood up with him, and they took a picture together. Mm-hmm. It's over. It's over. Let it go. Right? Like, it just needs to end. I don't care if Max Hall's mom had beer poured on her or not. We can joke about that. We're not going to joke about his addiction. It's so short-sighted.
Yeah, it's classless. It just is.
I just can't say it enough. It's not something to joke about. In all seriousness, this is why we don't play the rivalry every year, because the vitriol, the anger, the frustration.
But where do you draw the line between a great rivalry and between maybe going a step too far? Like, I feel like, we can look around sports, and obviously there's, plenty of examples I'm sure we could come up with people going too far. But, like, I do definitely 100% agree that the addiction thing is definitely not something to be joking about, right? Like, that's way too far in my opinion. But I think pretty much anything else is on the table, And so to me, yeah, that was great to see that Max is in a place in his life where he's, cool with that. He's accepted that. He's at peace with things. Like, that's great to see. But I just think that it to me, it is asking too much to expect any fan base not to pick on issues like that. I think that every fan base has, maybe not full of people, but definitely has people that are always going to bring that stuff up. And I just think that it's never going to die. And that's the thing. He's never going to live it down. Any of it.
Yeah. Jeremy Bolton says, man, Lavelle Edwards Stadium was incredible. Place was so loud. How about those video boards? My God. Yes, it was packed. Hope you got vaccinated. It was an incredible night of football. It really was. And you know what? I think it was an incredible Saturday in football. Mark Miansky says, great job on the USC prediction. Well, I didn't really predict that USC would beat Stanford. I said, watch out, Stanford can beat you. We'll talk a lot of Pac-12 tomorrow, frankly. Those results,
don't get me started.
If you're
on
Utah,
USC.
Washington, Oregon saved your ass this weekend in the Pac-12. I don't even know how you explain what happened.
Nothing short of impressive.
Yeah, you're a two-team league at this point. You're Oregon and UCLA, up until what I saw this week in Provo, I thought Utah was one of the best teams in the country. They're going to have to re-earn that, because I don't know that I see that anymore. Daryl Adams says Zach needed an O-line as well. Part of the reason Utah lost was choosing an easy game one. Agree with that. Kalani should have got a flag for that dancing. Hey, sure, throw a flag.
No cop, no
do
stop.
Spencer Morgan says San Diego State is a losable game. Look what they did to Arizona.
Hell yeah,
San Diego State's always a good team. They're always going to play
hard. By the way, small detail. We're actually going to get to watch that game. I don't know if anybody realizes that.
No, this is a Pac-12 team. They don't play on national TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow.
Well, they were in ESPN because BYU.
Because BYU has a $6 million contract every year.
No kidding, right? How does San Diego State have more national TV access?
CBS.
No, stop. No, I'm not doing it. Spencer Morgan says Utah's old line was terrible again. Where's the accountability for Harding? 70th or worse in TFLs allowed every year. Every year, the offensive line is the Achilles heel.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You might be asking some serious questions this morning of Jim Harding. I mean, that's tough. He also says Utah stopped passing the ball after there was a turnover. Kyle took over the offensive play calling, which is never good. Daryl Adams says Arizona has improved. It's obvious. BYU didn't use all of their games week one. Well, and I think that was the other thing that we saw. We saw a whole lot of fresh inventory in that BYU playbook this week.
It's just impressive. Like, dude, I don't mean to sit
the
here.
whole thing, yeah.
I don't mean to sit here and drink the blue Kool-Aid, but I can't help myself. Like,
you're not drinking the blue Kool-Aid.
listen,
you're chugging it.
Yeah, dude.
You're
I'm
doing
like,
that whole thing where you just vacuum swallow.
Dude. Like the whole thing. Right? Like,
wait, did you just do?
Yes, I did. That was perfect technique. If you missed it, I'm not going to give you instant replay. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, point is that the whole thing to me is just impressive. Like I legitimately thought, all right, Monday we're going to come in. I'm going to wake up at the crack of dawn. And I'm going to have to get a bunch of people in the comments who are Utah fans saying that it's little brother TDS. Honestly, I was like, damn, it's going to be 10 years in a row, and we're going to have to listen to Utah fan, be relentless as usual, and it's so nice not to have to hear that, but now to have a conversation about who's the better team in the state. I think that is so much better for college football. I think that is so much better for the state of sports and the state in the actual state of Utah. Like, I just think it's better for everything that BYU found a way to win this particular year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Casey, good morning too. He says, but that's the thing, Monty. BYU didn't play prevent 90% of the game versus Utah. They made a huge difference by getting pressure. Well, prevent is almost always about your secondary, the top of your secondary. And I think there's no doubt. We were talking about it during the game. BYU safeties were deep. They had depth. They kept everything in front of them,
which I don't think was a problem.
No, it wasn't. But because you had so much pressure up front, you were able to do a few more things. Charlie Brewer didn't have time to stand back there. It's shocking the level of depth that the Utah receivers were playing at. I mean, they were not playing 20-yard routes. They were not running 20. Their route trees were very, very shallow, which was really surprising.
Yeah.
Really surprising. Ramiro says, I agree. BYU was always seen as a P5, but Utah never did, and neither did BYU in this series. Utah had a psychological advantage over them. I agree with that. I would agree with that. Daryl Adams says Utah doesn't want someone to go to when resting their number one back. Oh, they don't have someone. Well,
I would agree with that, yeah.
But I don't know that I would agree with that. I think the problem is that Tavion Thomas turned the ball over. You fumbled. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And Witt's not going to keep you in the game if you're going to continue to turn the ball over. I think. Look, Micah Bernard's a hell of a running back. He clearly has won the number one spot. Tavion Thomas will be heard from again. There's no doubt about that. He's a legit back. He's got to stop turning the football over. Period. How about that? Colin says, let's go Jacksonville State. How about them? We'll talk about that game tomorrow. Cougar secondary has improved its athleticism and depth enough to unleash blitz packages and pressure opposing offensive. Well, and I think that's one of the things we did not see in the Arizona game was the disguise in the blitzing, which I agree was really impressive. Couple more. Alex T says people had pictures of him mocking him for addiction. Yes, they did on T-shirts.
Yeah.
Not funny. Brad Buffton says all it does is prove Max right. Derek Harris says they hugged it out after. Alex T says, look up Todd Noel on Twitter. Okay. Mind Axiom. Okay. Says the way BYU recruits big, raw athletes and develops them into studs is working. Kalani has a formula that's starting to work now that he's had some time. Well, I think we've all seen that, and we joked about this the other day on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, BMI, your body mass index, is important when you're going to go play at BYU. Like, they want beef.
Yeah,
they want guys, and Kalani and his staff believe that they can turn guys into defensive linemen. And I agree with that. They've done that. They've absolutely done that. I think it is.
Hey, by the way, that sounds like a good fit when you're playing in the Big 12, doesn't it?
That would be important.
Big Midwestern boys?
Yeah. Casey Finlinson says, between Max Hall's comments, Urban and the urinal cakes, and yes, Tanner Plummer, the Huntley comments drives fans into doing stupid things.
Well,
certainly fuels it. Spencer Jones says BYU, BYU, BYU.
Yeah.
Okay. Tavita says the best catch of the night was by Coach Kalani. Yeah, how about that running catch on the sideline? He got
Old man still got it.
It was amazing. Jeremy Bolton says, I don't think A-Rod is getting enough credit either. Duke called a genius offensive game. Well, I mean, I would agree. Some of the play calling early in this game was frustrating.
Yeah.
And I would agree in the second half, they opened things up a little bit more, which I think they needed to.
This is who this team is, though. If we think about it, we saw the same thing versus Arizona. What did we see versus Arizona? Right now, again, everyone said, "Oh, well, that's week one. Kind of just some rust, like working through some things." But now, if we're going to start to see this consistently, I'm starting to see a pattern develop. We can't call it a pattern yet, but just starting to see some trends developing here. Which is, we're going to be a little conservative early. We're gonna establish the run. We're going to see, can our offensive line hold up against, the opponent's defensive line? Like, again, Arizona State this coming week. Can BYU's offensive line, create gaps against that defensive line? That's what they're trying to figure out early in the game.
Yeah.
And then I think what we saw against both Arizona and Utah was that based on what they saw in the running game early, now that's going to dictate how aggressive in free firing we're going to let Jaren be. If we need more out of him, if we need him to run a little bit to kind of break the defense down, to get those linebackers to push back a little bit so we can run a little bit more, we're going to see that. Now, if we're running the ball effectively, if the A gap is open and we're one-on-one with the linebacker, we're going to take that because we got a stud running back, So I think the trend is let's see what we can do early in the running game, and based on that, then let's get Jaren going. Because, again, I'll maintain, happened in both games. At Arizona, Jaren was nothing in the first quarter. Second quarter, what happens? Makes that beautiful throw to the right sideline, and all of a sudden, what do we see? Jaren's throwing the ball all over the field, right? Everything's great. He's right into the game. What do we see against Utah? Hey, we're going to run it early. We're going to see what we can get done. We weren't really getting too much there. All right, let's get Jaren a pass. Woke him up, and all of a sudden, we're cooking. So I'm just telling you, watch out for that trend as this season wears on.
It's amazing how many Ute fans are like, well, BYU, they're not better than we are. Well, I got news for you. Yeah, they are. They're better. I mean, seriously, they're better. I don't know how
They're
you...
Utah fan.
What is the argument? How do you make an argument that BYU is not better?
You're not ranked higher. They just beat you one-on-one. They're 2-0. You're 1-1. What's to talk about?
And as annoying as BYU fan can be, and I agree that BYU fan can be...
That's assuming they make it past the net when they're running onto the field.
Oh, my God. How about that?
That was amazing, dude.
Go around. No, but I think all fans in BYU fan position this morning, you have the right to be precocious.
Big word.
But Utah fan is just unbearable. I mean, it is, you are an a-hole. I mean, there's no... Like, Utah fan doesn't care about Max Hall's addiction, or, Utah fans never going to, give credit where credit's due. Never. Ever.
Yeah.
And you're unbearable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think it's healthy for the rivalry. This needed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Because now... BYU is going to talk a bunch of junk for 2 years, and when we play again, now that game's going to be even more hyped.
Although I agree with you, the field goal in that was...
hilarious. Best defensive line on the field, dude. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah. Spencer Morgan says the quality of line play by BYU after losing Grimes and the guys that they did, pretty impressive. True. Jeremy Bolton said Witt even alluded to that in his postgame. He was even surprised that BYU's line dominated the whole game. I think Witt was very stoic. I almost feel like Utah anticipated this. They're never going to say that or even get near it.
No.
You feel like Utah knew this was the year.
Winter was coming.
Yeah, right? I mean, pull out the wool sweaters, kids, because it's going to be a cold one.
Yeah.
And you almost feel like that. Spencer says, yes, totally agree with the A-Rod comment. So glad to see him getting this win. because he was scapegoated by Utah and did not deserve to be fired. Well,
But see, I think this is fascinating. This rivalry for years now, right? This is nothing new, but I think it's just something that underlines the whole thing. You have multiple huge names that have been in both programs, and I think to me, it just like, and it obviously Kalani's the face of that conversation, but I just feel like it just is this awesome dynamic, and I'm telling you, this is part of the reason BYU is successful in this game.
Yeah.
Kalani knows Witt.
Yeah.
Kalani knows this program. Kalani knows what Witt teaches.
they're intimately familiar with each other. But
Yeah.
let's be honest. As an offensive coordinator, why do you go to Utah? To get fired. They change offensive coordinators like we all change
It's
our
not an
underwear.
offensive school. It never has been and never will be.
Well, and I think that's why this season is so critical for the Utes. I mean, you finally have a dynamic quarterback, but now it doesn't feel like you have dynamic weapons outside. I mean, this is a turning point. You got exposed by BYU, and now you got to go to San Diego State, which is not an easy place to play football. It is not, and it'll be interesting to see how Utah reacts. It really is. Jeremy Bolton says, Jake, LOL, so funny watching the students get owned by that field goal net.
It was hilarious. It was. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, this is classic. You're so drunk on the fact that you just won this game that
Jake,
you thought that you could just run through it. Oh, my bad.
at BYU.
You were so hydrated from all the water you drank that you thought you were strong enough to run through a kicking net. That to me was one of the best moments post game.
Yeah, and Stan wants to know how many honor code violations were committed in the dorms.
See, like, that's a good joke. I can get down with that. That's funny.
That is funny.
That's funny.
I like that. I hope a ton. I do.
That's funny.
I hope. Anyway. Gavin Vega, it sounds like Utah, knowing it's been so long since the Cougs won, knew that they were going to get punched in the mouth. And honestly, if they win out, it'll be a good game for both teams to learn from.
Well, now they better win out. That's the truth.
I don't know how you fix the offensive line at Utah. It's bad. It's really bad. I really don't know. I don't know. And this is one of, we'll see. Anyway, how do you gave up 100 yards rushing to BYU?
It's not good.
I mean, there's not a whole lot.
100 yards rushing? You gave up 95 to Jaron on his own.
I don't know.
Bro, that's not good.
I don't know.
That's a problem.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch. All right. Hey, make sure you hit subscribe and take a picture that you're subscribed. Tag us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Show's growing exponentially. I cannot tell you how much blood that's new is on this show. We're at 2,031 subscribers.
Man.
That's 469 to go. Until we give away the Traeger smoker.
So that should be right around the first week of October.
And please, I'm begging you, if you live in Utah, please try to win this Traeger, because I do not want to ship this to Europe. I do not want to ship this to Australia or New Zealand. I want to ship this in the back of my car to somebody in Utah. So please, subscribe to the channel. We'll give away that Traeger smoker when we get to 2,500. We're also going to give away this Xbox Series S. Always good to subscribe. We always take care of our subscribers. So give us a like, give us a thumbs up right now if you're here watching the show, and then give us a like, and then give us a subscribe, and then take a photo, tag us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, and you'll wind up in the piece of Snapware, Tupperware over there. And when we get to 2,500, the next day, we'll give away the Traeger smoker. So there you have it. Proyecta Emprender. Can we participate if we are in Chile then? Yeah, I don't want you to win, but yeah, participate. I don't want to ship that thing. Are you kidding me?
Bro, this smoker, right? So we have an Ironwood, what is it, an 885?
885. We have the Big Daddy.
So the Ironwood 885 is heavy. I mean, it's no joke, dude.
Made some really good salmon on the 885 last night.
Very good, yes.
Yeah, made
potatoes,
some
kebabs,
kebabs. Why can't I think of the whitefish that I made last night?
Halibut.
Made some halibut last night. Yeah, it was amazing. The Traeger's unbelievable. Made some wings for the game Saturday night. Awesome. If you didn't watch our vlog that we posted, make sure you check out the vlog that's on the channel. But yeah, Traeger is amazing. You can participate. If you win it in Chile, we're going to ship it to you in Chile.
Oh, we're gonna ship it if somebody wins. We're not.
I'm going to have to sell the house to pay for the shipping. But hey, don't feel bad about that. It is. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jared Smith says, haven't seen one replay showing the Jaron Hall actually went out of bounds on his 66-yard TD. Is there one out there? Oh, he was out of bounds. They showed the super slow-mo, blow it up, let's see every inch of the man's shoelace. His shoelace. He stepped out of bounds early in that run, for sure. He was on the paint. I don't think there's any doubt. I'll go for it then. Thank you, Priekta Emprender. That's cool. Spencer Morgan says lots of illegal touching in Provo. Saturday night was
personal with me.
Yeah, there was sin committed in Provo.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yep.
Don't worry, guys. I only live an hour from Salt Lake City. You can get me the smoker and the Xbox anytime, Kevin Vegas says.
Hey.
Okay. Utah will not win out, LOL, Spencer Morgan says. Well, the funny thing is, this is not the first time that Witt's teams have sputtered a little bit early. But, man, what about BYU and Arizona State? That game's going to be lit.
Yeah.
We'll get you ready for all that. We'll talk a lot more Pac-12 tomorrow on the show, but it is NFL Monster Monday, and that means that we have to get to the NFL because, holy cow, famous Jameis, the quarterbacks yesterday. What was the quarterback story in the NFL yesterday?
I mean, I think, yeah, it was Jameis played his ass off, and I also think my boy Baker played well. I think Baker impressed a lot of people.
That's not the story. It's not. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Well, see, I don't like to talk or acknowledge Aaron Rodgers' existence on this show because this is a Bears show. So.
No, neither does Danica. But the point is, listen, Aaron Rodgers sucked out loud yesterday. I don't know what that was. This is only the second time in his entire career that Aaron Rodgers has thrown 2 picks on opening day. And the Saints absolutely dominated the Packers 38-3. Jameis Winston, 14-20, 148 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I told you this cat was for real. And I'm telling you now, Jameis Winston is legit. He's completely changed the way he goes about his preparation. I think spending that year behind Drew Brees, spending an entire 18 months with Sean Payton now as his guy, like guruing him, you can see the difference in Jameis Winston. Better decision-making, throwing the ball away instead of forcing it in a double or triple. Jameis Winston, Jake, to me, showed me a lot yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he played well, and I think that, he is silencing, the haters, and I also just think that he's proving that he belongs now, and I think that for the Saints, it's almost I'm not going to say it's a miracle, but it is one hell of a developmental job because this is somebody who, let's not forget Jameis Winston, what was it, 30 picks and 30 touchdowns at one point? And that's just an unheard of stat. You just don't see that in the league. And so to me, I guess more than anything, as much as I'm not a Jameis Winston guy, I don't like who he is off the field. I don't like some of the mistakes he's made in his life. They're well documented. Go find him if you don't know him. Disappointing performance, to say the least.
Yeah, and I also think when you look at Zach Wilson yesterday for the Jets. The Jets suck. Zach Wilson's going to have a long road to hoe in New York. I mean, he was not good. And I look at some of the other guys. I look at Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's a very good quarterback. Tell me Kyler Murray's not an NFL MVP candidate after what we saw yesterday. I mean, Kyler Murray, 289, 4 scores through the air, 1 on the ground, 38-13 in Tennessee. That's a hell of an impressive win for Cliffy and the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, and after what you saw out of the 49ers, I think we're not going to talk Bears or Rams. We just decided that game never happened. Okay, well, that's not true. After what you saw out of the Rams, I think the Rams are more vulnerable. I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are interesting. I don't know what to make of them coming out of that performance, but I do know this. Kyler Murray is arguably the best quarterback in that division. And the Arizona Cardinals defensively don't give a damn. They're coming for you. And I think for the first time in a long time, the Arizona Cardinals have a cohesive unit on defense, and you have a running game, you have wide receivers and a quarterback that you can stand behind. Now, that offensive line is still mediocre. But the point is now you have talent to overcome that.
Yeah.
Jake, I think the Arizona Cardinals are absolutely NFC West contenders and Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter whether you're playing the college game or the professional game. If your offensive line is not great, you're going to be running around a lot, and I think that's exactly what we saw. Not only of the Cardinals, but a lot of teams in the league. And I look at these any team you want to look at, can their quarterback roll out and make plays? We saw it with Kyler. We saw it with Baker. We saw it with Patty Mahomes. We saw Josh Allen fail at it.
Saw it with Ben Roethlisberger
Saw it with
in
Ben
Buffalo.
Roethlisberger. Exactly. So like it's this whole dynamic where, does your team have a good offensive line or is it more mediocre? For the Cardinals, it's more mediocre. So you're going to see Kyler rolling out, making plays, doing some things. And I think finally this year they've brought in so much wide receiver talent that now he has options. And I think that's truly the biggest difference. It's not that Kyler has seen some just insane growth. Yeah, he's developed. He looks physically. He looks a lot stronger than he did last year. That was one of the biggest things I noticed immediately when we turned that game on. But I just think overall, as much as I am not a Steve Keim fan, the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, they brought in talent, and that's what they needed.
Well, and I think the other thing that's very clear is that the presence of J.J. Watt makes Chandler Jones a better player.
J.J. Watt!
J.J. Watt! Because you cannot just simply defend Chandler Jones with double teams now. Now you have to watch the A-gap. Now you have to watch J.J. Watt. And if I'm playing the Arizona Cardinals, I don't think there's any doubt I'd rather have J.J. Watt beat me than Chandler Jones. Because Chandler Jones absolutely disrupted and dominated that football game. And the Titans were not able to run the ball up the middle, which is the other thing. I think J.J. Watt makes you a much better run defense. And their ability now to rotate defensive tackles along that line for the Cardinals makes them a much better defense. And
how is it possible that the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry can't run the football? How the hell is that possible?
Because I think you have really aggressive linebackers and you have a stout defensive line in Arizona. I think you're going to see he's going to run the ball fine against other teams that aren't the Arizona Cardinals because they're very good defensively. Same thing when we were talking BYU Utah. I think you have to give the Arizona Cardinals credit for the way they dominated the Tennessee Titans because just like the Utes, the Titans aren't a bad football team. It just turns out that I mean, you look at Arizona, they're a better team than the Titans are right now.
Yeah.
And, I'll say the same thing about the New Orleans Saints. They're a better team than the Green Bay Packers are right now. And a lot of that came down to, and I never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but Jameis Winston outplayed Aaron Rodgers. And that is shocking to me. Now, Kamara was great. That defense was great. Sure. Jameis Winston outplayed Aaron Rodgers, and it's unbelievable. I look at what you got from Justin Herbert. A huge win for we don't play in San Diego anymore, the Chargers. I think that is a win that you had to have. The Washington football team is very good. To beat them 20-16 on the road, to have 337, a touchdown and a pick, the way that Justin Herbert bounced back from that pick, you got to give him a lot of credit. I think the Chargers are going to be very difficult to deal with. And then the coup de grace, Baker Mayfield and Patty Mahomes going blow for blow. And it's just really unfortunate that Cleveland secondary just never got off the bus. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you explain punching a coach in the face after stomping on a downed opponent's chest.
And when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
That's what the Cleveland secondary, one of the guys in their secondary, I'm not even going to say his name because I think it's just such a classless move. You punched a coach in the face after stomping on a guy's chest. That's who the Cleveland Browns have always been. And guess what? I guess not much has changed. But Baker Mayfield balled out. Now, he threw the only interception of the game that mattered, frankly, and it did matter. And it cost him the game ultimately, but that's not why they lost. They lost because that defense got chewed up. They lost because Patrick Mahomes is still the baddest quarterback on the planet. I don't know what else you can say about him.
Yeah, I think that I think it's this whole dynamic for the Chiefs where they're just going to wait you out because what ends up happening is and we saw this, the Browns were running two high safeties on defense the entire game, and basically through 3 3/4 and probably 7 minutes, you were playing two high safeties, and then the last probably 10 minutes of the game, you decided to go single high safety. And that's Tyreek Hill land. And to me, For whatever reason, you changed what you were doing, and that allowed them to score. I mean,
Shocking.
Even with the turnovers and the lack of execution, the Browns were winning this game on the road for like 85% of the game.
Absolutely.
So to me, the biggest thing coming out of this game is the Chiefs are not some ironclad team that is unbeatable. What they are is
vulnerable.
a team that is going to punish you when you make mistakes, and I think that is why consistently, and it's amazing to me that this still happens. That's why Tom Brady wins games, because he does not make those mistakes on offense. Even if his defense is trash, he's not going to give you extra possessions. And that's why I say Baker is developing. He's still got more room to grow. And I just think this Browns team, everyone's saying, oh, well, they did all this without Odell. I don't even give a damn about Odell. You're not on the field. You're not playing. You haven't played in like 15 NFL weeks. Like he's not been a part of this team. So I guess overall what I'm saying here is that I think the Browns are going to be a problem this year, and I think that was a hell of a game by them. I just think it was small things at the end that really, really cost them.
Well, and the other thing that really stands out for me is just what a shitty coach Matt Nagy is for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time. It's time. And, as we saw the soul leak out of Kalani and demonstrate his awesomeness, Matt Nagy's a terrible football coach. And last night, the LA Rams, they won the game. They won the game, don't get me wrong. But the play calling in this game is shocking. By not to kick that field goal in the fourth quarter to make it a 7-point game. The way that you brought in Justin Fields has done nothing but stoke the fires of the quarterback controversy you already have. Your play calling's dog shit. Like your mentality about winning games is terrible. Like,
it's bad.
I don't know how Matt Nagy still has his job, but wherever he's keeping the nudes of Virginia McCaskey, okay, that's probably too much.
Having fun is the name of the game.
Anyway, the point is, however Matt Nagy has his job, they're terrible. And the Bears are far more talented than we're seeing last night.
Yeah.
Because the play calling is holding this team back. You're finally punishing teams on the ground. You are finally in a situation, and you know what the worst part of the quarterback controversy in Chicago is? Andy Dalton actually played well.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But is anybody talking about Andy Dalton this morning? No, all anybody's talking about on ESPN and on Twitter and everywhere else is that Justin Fields should be starting. Andy Dalton actually played good football yesterday. And it is really frustrating to this Bears observer that butthole of a coach and Matt Nagy, I'm begging you for the Michael Rappaport drop.
Okay.
I have it ready. This is a PG-13 NSFW drop.
This is definitely heavy.
But Matt Nagy's an a-hole.
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
This was sent to me by you. Sorry if that offends some people, but it is pretty funny.
That's the greatest drop ever. You can...
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
I do not like him, but that's funny. That's really funny. That's Matt Nagy.
No. That is... One more time.
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
Oh my God. That's Michael Rappaport on TikTok. Oh my God. That's Michael Rappaport on TikTok talking about Cole Beasley dropping up. Oh my God, that's hysterical. Cole Beasley dropped a pass. And Rappaport lost his mind.
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
Oh, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, I have no life. That's why I'm sitting here laughing to tears about Michael Rappaport calling Cole Beasley an asshole.
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
It's pretty funny.
Oh man, I needed that. Anyway, that's how I feel about Matt Nagy. Fuck you, Matt Nagy.
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
How is he still employed? How?
I don't know.
And the GM. How?
The Bears should have been in position to win that game.
Dude.
And the problem is, again, yeah, I needed that too. Thank you, Steve. Steve says, yeah, I needed that. Me too. Andy Dalton, 27 of 38, 206, a touchdown and a pick. Justin Fields throws 2 passes for 10 yards. And everyone's like, oh, start Andy, or no, wait, Justin Fields. Start Justin Fields.
Start Justin Dalton.
Like, what are you talking about? Andy Dalton played good, not great. Justin Fields threw 2 passes, ran for a touchdown, and people think this guy's like the Messiah. And I settle down.
The problem is
Like-
the touchdown he ran for, Andy Dalton's never doing that. That's the
No,
problem.
probably not. But then again, I mean, the guy accounted for 13 total yards, and you want to like
Yes, because it's not
Stop.
dude. It's about the potential of Justin Fields. He is a better quarterback right now today
I don't
than
disagree
Andy
with
Dalton
that.
is.
But Andy Dalton, Andy
know,
Dalton
one-year
shouldn't be
deal.
a villain.
But it doesn't matter whether he should or shouldn't be, right? This is not Andy
is,
Dalton's
yeah.
fault, right?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Andy Dalton as a player. This has nothing to do with Andy Dalton as a dude. This is all about Matt Nagy and how they've handled this. And I'd like to just point our attention to what the hoodie in New England did.
Yeah.
He cut Cam Newton to allow Mac Jones to be the guy. And that's why they did that, because now you're seeing this whole situation in Chicago play out where it's like everyone hates Andy Dalton for pretty much no reason other than the fact that you've got this guy sitting behind him who's ready to go. So at the end of the day, I just feel like you have to make tough decisions. You have to say, okay, Andy, sorry, dude, you're not starting. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we have an awkward situation. Jake, where are your car keys?
Let me tell me. He texted me.
So the car detail guy's here, and Jake knew he was going to be here at 7, and now it's 7:45. I don't know why he showed up so late. But Jake was supposed to leave his car keys outside.
I
So
did.
the guy. Oh, you did?
I did, yeah. They're on the porch. Yeah, I did.
All right, good. All right, good. I just wondered where.
Yeah,
your
no,
keys
I
were.
got them.
All right.
I got them.
We're ballers. He washes our cars.
They're
for
not.
us.
They're not like hidden under a rock or anything. They're right behind the planter. Like it's not hard to find them.
Yeah.
They're
No,
not
I
like
agree.
hidden. Like I don't know. I felt like I put them in a good spot.
All right, let's talk about buying a hot tub. Because I don't want to talk about the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
It's a frustrating week.
Oh wait. Ravens or Raiders? Got to go Ravens, right? Right.
No, you're going Ravens. Are the Ravens going to field a team? The fucking Ravens don't have a
The
healthy
Ravens
player
have more
left.
torn ACLs on the field than an actual team.
Right? What are you talking about? The Ravens. Baltimore's a 4-point favorite in Las Vegas. I think Allegiant's going to be lit. I'm taking the Raiders to cover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how you don't. And I know that 61% of the money is coming in on the Ravens in this game. The number's 50.5. This is going over, and the Raiders are winning the game. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
Having said that, you should go with the Ravens because I'm terrible.
Yeah, my biggest fear here is Lamar is gonna shred this defense. That's what I
Yeah, maybe.
That's my biggest fear.
Gus Edwards, Marcus Peters, Derek Wolfe, and Jimmy Smith all are done.
Spinal.
Yeah, right? Spinal. Right, they're done. Marcus Peters, done. Nick Boyle, done. Gus Edwards, done. Right? I mean, Richie Incognito, who cares? He's out for the Raiders. Okay, great. We'll stick Jake in there. The guy that you need to know about is Josh Jacobs, and it looks like he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, did dude find the keys?
I don't know.
I texted him. He's not replying to me. I'm assuming he found the keys.
I'm guessing. I have no idea.
I would assume that he found the keys.
So, again, you have a guy that he's looking for them right now. Yes, he found them.
Hey, there you go.
Huh?
There you go.
No, he found them.
Okay, now he's texting me back. Good. He found
All right,
him.
good.
All right, good.
There
All
you
right,
go.
perfect.
Nice job. You should have just set them on the porch. Nobody's going to look for your car keys on the porch.
Yeah. They were no.
They were in the dirt, it looked like.
They were not in the dirt. They were on the step behind the little flower pots that you guys have on
Okay,
your
shut up.
porch.
Can we talk about buying a hot tub, please?
Yes, do it. Go ahead.
Just let me live.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Don't have kids. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. Well, we got a hot tub so that we can have kids.
Hope you guys liked the video over the weekend.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. Aren't hot tubs supposed to be bad for like male seed production or something?
I have no
Anyway, who
idea.
knows? It's not ivermectin that we fill the hot tub up with. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, I got snipped. It's fine. Anyway, the
Dude,
point
bro.
is, what?
How are you just gonna roll out there? Oh, I got snipped.
It's HIPAA, man.
Think that's HIPAA?
Yeah, it's HIPAA. I don't know. So we went to the hot tub and swim pool tank thing show over the weekend at the
Just so you can go to Pound Town.
Yeah, exactly right. I got a hot tub so we can go to Pound Town. Anyway, the point is, we bought a $10,000 hot tub over the weekend, just like that. I'm stoked. Now, it won't be here until 2025 for the opening of the Big 12 football season. It's delayed like 6 to 8 weeks. So, same thing, 12 weeks. I don't take my shoes off to count. It's not going to be here till just before Christmas, unfortunately. But I feel like we got a pretty good deal. It was legit 10 grand. They'll deliver it and they'll set it up for you, and then you got to pay an electrician and stuff to hook it up, and that is what it is. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm excited. We got a really nice hot tub. As a guy that snowboards again this off season, but we don't lift weights at all.
What do you bench?
Yeah, not 225. I was at, anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. Hot tub. So we got this hot tub we're going to drop in our backyard because, A, I think they're amazing. And B, after you snowboard, you almost crave a hot tub.
Yeah.
Like it's unreal. I am so excited about this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be awesome. I think, I think what you should be more excited about is the transformation the backyard's currently going through. I mean now, with now that you're out of the woods on the paver guy and that's all done, we got the Traeger, now you're going to do a hot tub. Like, the backyard's kind of going through a makeover here.
Jeremy Bolton. Oh, wow. Jeremy Bolton makes it great. We forgot an accessory. And they're not cheap. My wife's going to be thrilled with this. He says, question, does that hot tub have an ass vacuum? Well,
Wow.
now we're going to have to go out and buy one.
Wow.
Great. Anyway.
I want it.
Daryl Adams says a hot tub equals human soup. Well, thanks. Appreciate that.
I love that the
shower.
commenters on this show are committed to making sure that an ass vacuum reference gets made every show.
Well, it's particularly Jeremy Bolton. That resonated with him. Hey, man, what you do in your bedroom, Jeremy, is up to you, man. I ain't judging. Teddy Wayman says Raiders all day. What was the reason for a hot tub? That seems so random. Well, it's not rando. It's just that, like, in the winter, if you've never walked into a hot tub in the wintertime after snowboarding, you haven't lived. I mean, it is one of the most enjoyable experiences ever.
If you guys ever want to kick it, we'll flow.
No, and I guarantee you Tanner's going to be like, hey, man, do you mind if I come over and hang out in the hot tub with you guys? No, Tanner. Yes, no. Tanner, the answer is no. You can't come over. Day Old Donut says, not sure if you guys pay attention to ticket prices. Not yet. Fat Jesus says, hot tub, sweet. 2 weeks of stories about bad deliveries and horrible electricians.
Here we go.
3 months.
But, 3 months of stories. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
The hot tub experience was awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever Donnie Jamoke's name was, the guy who sold us
His
the hot
name
tub.
was Ron.
Was it Ron?
Yes, it was Ron.
Ron was amazing. We walked in here, and Jake's walking around with a camera rig that's the size of, like, The Rock's leg. So he's got, like, this huge camera rig with him, and I'm like, hey, man. Yeah, Jake's like, I don't care. Hey, man, can we videotape you? And the guy's like, no, I'd prefer if you didn't. I'm like, well, how about we just not shoot you then? He's like, yeah, that's fine.
This is a code 10 aboard.
And then he gave us great service. It was amazing. It was a really enjoyable experience. They let us play around in the hot tubs. We sat in them.
Yeah, I mean, you should watch the video we made over the weekend and subscribe to the channel, and you can see it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there on
affiliate links are in the description, too, for the Traeger.
It was amazing. Will you do a show from the hot tub, Fat Jesus says? Yes. Absolutely. Giggity says, is the hot tub going on the new paver deck?
Yeah.
No, but I will, shut up. But I will say the pavers are amazing. We set up the wicker furniture, because who doesn't have wicker furniture on pavers?
Right.
We have crappy little outside patio furniture. The problem is patio furniture is more expensive than the hot tub, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, it's not good, dude.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, it's not good.
But next spring we'll get new patio furniture, sell more Yelp ads. But the point is,
yeah.
we're going to have a new deck put in. We're going to have some electrical run.
So how much is this? So the hot tub itself was 10, but then this whole project's going to be 15.
Yes. It's going to be about 15 Gs.
Okay.
Because we're going to have our deck rebuilt to fit the hot tub. And my wife's talking to somebody that builds platforms so the hot tub will be level, because, of course, the slope in your backyard is not level because you want the water to run away from the house.
Because it's all part of the plan.
It's only money, man. It all burns the same, right? Hundos and singles all burn like paper. The point is, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
They give you this extra big winterized cap that goes on top of the hot tub. It's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome.
Sitting in the hot tub when it's snowing.
But I will say this. The electrician who did our lights and all of our cans down here in the studio and whatnot, he was great too. He did a great job. The guy was really cool when he was here.
Yeah.
I haven't hit my head on the lights in a couple of weeks because they're now hanging from the ceiling.
Yep.
So I don't hit my head on the lights anymore. So now it's totally fine.
Right.
The guy did a great job. So I'm going to give him a second chance now to wire my hot tub, right? Because you have to run a whole harness. I won't be rehiring the paver guy because the pavers are awesome. He did a great job, but he doesn't communicate. And then he wants to raise his price during the project. Nah.
That's enough of that crap.
Nah. So now I'm going to have to find a landscaper. And here's the funny thing is, one of our friends owns a landscape company, and she solicited business on Instagram. Hey, call my amazing husband. We called her amazing husband. He hasn't gotten back to us.
Good job, dude.
Okay. I guess you don't need the business that bad.
Yeah.
But the point is, I'm going to have a landscaper come out and rip out a hibiscus bush. And then my wife's going to have a deck guy come out and build this platform. And then hopefully by the time he gets here, and Daryl Adams says running costs about $17 a month.
$17, $18 a month
to run a hot tub, which is also in the video, by the way. It's amazing. I'm stoked. It's $17 a month. To procreate and plant a garden in the hot tub, $17 a month is. I'd pay 5 times that much.
Yeah.
If you ever get a girlfriend, you can bring her over.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
So let's talk about Mike James.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The NBA free agent point guard, who the Jazz should absolutely sign.
Yeah, who's a great role player and comes off the bench and does everything for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mike James on Twitter the other day was talking about the difference between playing in Europe and America. And he said when he played in Europe, the thing is he got comfortable because he was on his own. And you get used to that, your privacy.
Yeah.
But then you come back to the U.S., and all your friends are here, so people are around. And he's like, it's tough to adjust to those people again. He much preferred the solitude of being on the road in another country.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him. I think it's an ideal setup to be highly successful. I think what it does is it takes the emotion sort of out of almost everything. Outside of your own, in terms of being frustrated with your day or something. Outside of those kind of feelings, it takes the emotion out of everything. So it enables you to say, okay, all right, what time is it? It's 9:00. All right, I should be making my breakfast right now and doing this and doing that. And then it just allows you to kind of stay on track. And I think it just is. I get what he's saying completely. I completely get it, and I love it. I'm about it. So yeah, I completely agree with Mike.
Yeah, I think that you get used to a certain lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Me living alone, I don't know how I would do with that. I mean, I'm sure I would adjust, but in my situation, I don't know, when you've been married as long as I've been married, does your significant other become a creature comfort?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think
right?
I think it's stages of life, but I also think there's this. I think the more important conversation is more people. There's so many people that I know, whether it's at the Yelpatory or otherwise, around that are so reliant on the opinions of other people. They want their friends to think highly of them, and they want all these things that are reliant on other people doing it. And when that doesn't happen, you're just unhappy. You're not content. And I just think that's a hell of a way to live your life. I think that's very difficult. I think you're going to be unhappy a lot. That's why I think, and that's why I think Mike is talking about it, because when you're over in Europe in a different country, you don't know anybody, you're there for a single purpose, which is to get buckets if you're Mike James. I mean, that's literally his purpose. And I think, when you come back to the league, everyone's like, oh, how was Europe? And you want to get drinks and go out to dinner and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no, dude, I'm going to the gym. Like it's just different. It is just different. That's the best way I could say it.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, but at some point you have to find companionship. All right, so a bunch of people are asking, there's kind of a conversation happening, but
yeah.
So this guy gets fired for wearing this Max Hall shirt. I don't know this Todd Noel guy at all. I don't know what company he works for, and frankly, I don't care. He wore the Max Hall mugshot shirt, and apparently got fired from his job for that. I haven't heard this.
Do you know what company fired him?
I don't know. I have no idea what company fired him. But you know what? Frankly, I don't know. Should a company fire you for a shirt you wore to a football game?
I think it depends on what context you're at the football game in. If you were at the game representing the company, absolutely. If there was no connection to the company, then no.
Fat Jesus says, "Great pickup line, Jake. My parents have a sweet hot tub."
Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess. Did this guy really lose his job for wearing this T-shirt? And now I'm getting tweets about it.
I mean, I think again, it all depends on the connection. So if he was there...
Oh, he did apparently get fired for this.
If he was there in a company capacity, if he was there representing...
He wasn't. There's a picture being tweeted to me. You'd think somebody on the board of directors for a company that's all about making someone happy before they pass would have some compassion here. Guess it's all used up in the boardroom. So this guy was on the board of directors I'm so confused. If anybody knows what this is about, I'd love to hear about it. And maybe we'll do some research and talk about it tomorrow because I'm kind of lost on it.
Yeah.
But there's like 3-4 comments on it. Yeah, will you use the hot tub as a pickup line?
No.
How long do you think you're going to be single? Like, at what point do you think this comes to an end?
I think it's... Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's just tough for me right now, like, because again, I mean, I can go out and try to find somebody. I use Hinge from time to time. It's not a daily thing for me, but from probably like once or twice a week, maybe I'll go on and do some swiping and like some people and but it's I think right now with my age, I think that's the tough part. I don't think there are people my age doing what I'm doing, and that's the hard part.
So you think COVID's still a huge factor in your singlety?
I definitely think it plays a role. Yeah, I think that I'm not willing to. I've had opportunities as we've discussed on the show with 305 and others, and I've said no because I just don't want to take the risk. There's no reason to take the risk.
Well, if you get lonely, just switch hands. I mean,
right? Yeah.
I mean, that's how you get strange as a single guy.
I think that as much as we joke about it and everything, like the expectation is, oh, you're gonna get married and have kids and all this stuff, and I don't think that should be the expectation anymore. I think we're in different times.
But was that ever really a realistic expectation?
Yes.
Well, no, I think it was an expectation. I don't know that it was ever realistic. I think it's why we have such incredible divorce rates in this country.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. I mean, there's no real... Like, you're lucky. You guys have a strong relationship, but I think, in the big picture, there's not a lot of incentive to get married. There's not. Because of the divorce rates being at 60 or 70% or whatever it is.
Yeah, Daryl Adams says Northern Mexico Mormon girl, Jake. So the problem is Jake's not Mormon.
I'm not Mormon. Yeah, and so and then that's the other thing too. I live in a state that's heavy Mormon, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, but that doesn't mean I have to go and date a Mormon girl. I don't have to do that. So it just is. That's why I say for me. It's not I'm sure I could go out and go on dates and have some fun with it, but my problem is every time I'm on one of those dates, I'm like, yeah, you could be doing this or you could be doing that. Like, it's hard for me to enjoy it until I find that person that is able to be on my level mentally.
But the problem is you won't even walk up to somebody and be like, hey, baby. Like, you won't even...
Because that's not me. That's not who I am. It never has been. I'm not that guy. That's just not... That's not my...
So you need game. Like a filter. You need Instagram. You need
No, I mean, I'm not going to walk up to somebody randomly and just do that. That's not who I am. It would need to be a social gathering of some kind, or an Instagram or some sort of a something.
Yeah. There's no evidence that a family is building block of society, moron. Well, who said it was?
He didn't. I don't think he said a family was a building block of society, but I think.
No, I said when was it when was it a realistic expectation? I think it's never. I think for a long time, women cooked, cleaned, produced babies, and then were just very quiet and sat in the corner. Mm-hmm. That's how this country was, built. That was the formative years for women in this country. But that's been over for decades now. And I think we put unfair expectations. I think this is more about women, by the way. I think women have unfair expectations. And as much as we've talked about maternity leave and all this other stuff, there's still an expectation that, well, hey, you're going to have a couple of kids and a white picket fence and a dog. Mm-hmm. Well, for guys, I think that expectation is very different. There are no expectations because mainly we don't have a uterus, but that, I guess, is a different show. But my point is mainly because I think women are in a position where they don't have a lot of choice when it comes to having kids. I don't. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we try to force people, I think I just don't think it's realistic anymore that you can think, hey, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a 4-year degree, and I'm going to make $50,000 and have kids in a house and 2 cars. That doesn't work that way anymore.
Agreed.
So,
I completely agree. I just think, I don't know, man, I think it's hard to, unless you do the whole living alone, sort of lone wolfing it, if you will, it's hard to understand why it works so well. But what I would say is that it allows you to be focused on what you're doing, and I think it also puts you in a place. It takes time, but I think it also puts you in a place where you're able to say, I don't really. It's almost freeing. It's liberating to be able to say, I don't need friends. It'd be nice to have friends. It'd be nice to have some people that I could really, get down with. But you don't need that in your life. And I think so many people need that connection, and it really hurts them.
Yeah, and I also think that you have to, at some point or another, I think you have to really, come to a place where you make a decision that that's what you want. Like, I think sharing your life with somebody is vital. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this show. Mm-hmm. I think every night that you don't kiss somebody goodnight and wake up next to somebody the next morning, I think is a night that you're not fulfilled. Yeah. I'm a huge believer in that.
And I agree with that. My biggest struggle is that I just don't know, at this current, today, I don't know where that person is. I don't know. My biggest problem, and this is a me problem. Absolutely, it's a me thing. My biggest problem is when I've been on dates, I'm sitting there just thinking to myself, dude, what are we really talking about? I don't want to come off like I think I'm better than people, but my biggest struggle is having conversations that are just boring to me mentally, that are just I'm just sitting here paying $40 to eat dinner and talk about random stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe my expectations are too high, but I guess I'm just not willing to settle, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing.
Spencer Morgan says marriage is like playing Russian roulette with your financial future. But what do I always say to that? I'm a big believer in prenuptial agreements. Mm-hmm. If you have something. Mm-hmm. I think if you don't, and the problem is you have something now. Mm-hmm. Like you have stocks, 401ks, like you have wealth. So I think you have to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think we've gotten to a point in our society where it's okay to be alone for a long stretch of your life. And I'm telling you, it's not. When you get comfortable in that, I'm telling you, it's a mistake. Fat Jesus says, that person today is likely in 6th or 7th grade, so be patient, Jake. Yeah. Ikey PA says, prenups are not worth the paper they're written on. Well, it depends on how you write them and who you write them, who you have write them. Mm-hmm. That, to me, there's value in
execution.
That. Yeah, there's value in that for sure. Kalani said, love God and love your family, and they will never leave you.
That's true.
That's true, sure.
I think there's great messaging in that.
Yeah. You got to have a family to love first, though.
Yeah, and you got to have quality people to make a family.
I would agree. The thing that's shocking to me is you don't seem lonely at all.
I'm not lonely. I'm perfectly happy with my own company. Perfectly happy. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
100% fine. I've got, I don't know. I try not to be an asshole about it. I try not to be cold-blooded about it. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
I feel like it's really hard for me to it's like this whole dynamic where I feel like people my age are not doing what I'm doing. They can't keep up with what I'm trying to do. And then they get all upset when I don't have a lot of time to see them because I don't have a lot of time to see them because of all the things that I'm doing. And then when I do see them, the conversation pretty much is brutal every time until that I meet that one person who it's not, obviously. And so then it's like, all right, well then do you date up? Do you date 30-somethings already? And typically the 30-something is not in a good place in life if they're on Hinge and looking for somebody.
Well,
that's the problem.
I guess on some level that's true. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Ace said
Vanish mode.
Ace said you guys live in Daybreak. Isn't that one of the singles hotbeds in Utah? Is there a lot of single people
I don't
in
know.
Daybreak?
I've never heard that. That may be true. I'm just saying I've never heard that.
I've not heard. Yeah, I live in Daybreak, but your place is in Daybreak too.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is there a lot of single women in Daybreak?
Like I said, I don't know. I've never heard that. Yeah.
Dr. Dre's ex-wife just got out of $1 million prenup. Yeah, he lost huge on that. Prenups are very easy to void. You guys know not of what you speak. Well, no, actually what I think is that, again, it's all in how you write it. And there's far more to the Dr. Dre situation than just his prenup.
Yeah.
That's a deep, long, dark thing. Sounds like Jake is suffering from a text breakup curse. Could be.
Could be.
James Knight says, lower that bar, Jake, or you will need a lifetime supply of hand cream.
Yeah.
He broke up with you over text message?
Yeah, I did.
And for those who know, Jake broke up with his last serious relationship over text. They
Mr. fucking vaccination genius scientific expert, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's actually his ex-girlfriend who thought they were engaged and was making plans to be impregnated and stuff when you broke up with her over text.
How dumb do you think I am?
Am I wrong about any of that?
I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm
not
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Did you really? Yeah, that's a true story.
I've told this story like 50 times on this show.
That's a true story.
Listen, the thing that never gets said about the whole thing is that it was communicated to me that was the preferred method of contact. That was communicated to me.
Sure, throwing that in now.
And then
8 months later.
Yeah, I threw it in now like I threw it in then.
Yeah, I thought down the hallway. Wow.
No, it is what it is, man. It's all
don't
good.
lower the bar, but you should play the music because we got to go. Listen, I think you're a special boy.
Okay.
Rephrase. What?
That came out weird.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, that came out weird.
I don't think it did. Make sure you hit subscribe on this channel right now if you're watching. Please give us a thumbs up. Always appreciate you guys being here. We will be back tomorrow. A lot of Pac-12 and college football on the show tomorrow. What is going on in the Pac-12?
Nothing good.
Nothing good. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Jake will still be single tomorrow, so there will be no update on that. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.